hey, didn't see you there.
Welcome to the Know and Grow podcast. We're your hosts, Lucas Draffin
and Jonah Hoffmeyer.
Come along with us as we share about the generational work of God through story and conversation. Let's jump right into it.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 9, actually this time, of the Know and Grow podcast. We are one away from
It's almost
double
10
digits.
years old.
What? What do we do, a podcast a year? That's a long podcast.
Extended release.
Oh, jeez.
Scheduled releases.
Nobody wants that. We're here. Lucas is here. I'm here. We are missing the Mad Dog. She has been replaced with Sunny for an episode. What? He's so funny.
Nothing.
There's nothing funny about
I didn't
that.
know you were going to add for an episode. I thought you were just going to leave it plainly. Sunny has replaced Mad Dog.
No. Sunny has replaced Mad Dog for an episode here. We're going to talk about ropes later in the podcast, but Sunny is back. She made her appearance on the summer debrief episode, and she's back to talk about one of her, would you say it's your favorite things about camp?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Sunny, I know you introduced yourself, but give us a rundown for those who didn't listen to that episode. Who are you?
Who are you?
And what roles have you fulfilled at camp?
Nice.
So, I am Sonya, is my birth name. I have to clarify that because the summer staffer did not know that Sunny was my camp nickname the whole summer. So, yes, but everybody here at camp calls me Sunny. I have worked at Inspiration Hills for 3 summers now. First summer, I was a counselor, and then the next 2 summers, I was the high ropes coordinator. And then, hopefully, I'll be back for a 4th year.
Indeed.
Senior
4 years.
season.
Sunny, this isn't, I'm going to put you on the spot. What keeps you coming back?
Ooh, so much. So much. I mean, the community, the growth that has come from it, the experiences, and I don't know, it brings so much joy and excitement and just the growth that comes from it.
Sure.
As she walked in today, she was shaking a little from excitement.
Granted, I did have caffeine.
Yeah, well, we'll blame it on both.
Yeah.
We'll blame it on a little bit of both. The excitement of being
1 plus
here.
1 does equal 2, so.
Well, we think. Let's move on to the weekly What's Up. Lucas, what have you been What's Upping? I know you are still in seminary.
That's
and
correct.
You are still studying Greek.
That's correct. Unfortunately. Our assistant director, James, said when I first started Greek that it's really frustrating because there's more exceptions to the rule than there are actual rules to Greek and like the Greek language, like within grammar and syntax and parsing and things like that. And he's right. And it's really frustrating. It's not straightforward at all. So that's tough.
You could argue English is very much that way,
For sure. But I learned English at a very young age, and I'm now 27 learning Greek.
You can teach old dogs new tricks.
Yes, indeed. I've learned plenty of new tricks throughout this whole process, but Greek is tough.
Sure.
So, yeah. Other than that, I'm reading a couple things for seminary that are really fun, like, The Innovative Church. That's a fun one, kind of reimagining church ministry and what that looks like.
Not to be confused with The Basic Church.
That's correct.
By Matt Draffin.
Yep. Esteemed.
Yes.
Esteemed. I'm also reading Spiritual Formation, the Spiritual Formation Handbook. Oh, wait, no. It's a short guide to spiritual formation. That's been really good, too. And then, for my essentially systematic theology class, I've got a book that's about 2 inches thick that I thumb through every so often. So it's fun.
Sunny, what do you, I know you're in college, you're at Dort, so you do have to do a lot of reading. I know you are learning a lot in your Bible classes. You can talk about anything in the Bible classes that you've talked about, or is there anything like in your personal time that you're reading that you really want to share? What has God placed on your heart?
Well, there's so much. I have so many books that I'm reading this semester. I actually just finished a book and wrote a book review, which was due tonight, but I had to get it done because I was coming here, so it's done. And that book was called, pull out my little notes because I have so many books that I couldn't remember. Is it not on here?
Just for context, she has at least 10 books that looks like written on there. So
it's Bearing God's Name, Why Sinai Still Matters.
Why what so much?
Sinai, Mount Sinai.
Sure.
Matters.
Not the one by Wilder.
No, not that one.
No.
Not the
Much
esteemed
more
builder.
glorious.
Yeah.
And that was just really interesting because it talks about how Israelites have to bear God's name, but then how they fail and how that continues all the way through the whole Bible, and then Jesus comes and Jesus actually fulfills bearing God's name. And so now we can bear his name. And it's just really, really interesting.
Anything else that you're reading? I know you're reading a lot, so.
I also just finished a book called Embodied Hope for my Faith and Suffering class. And that one is about suffering.
Naturally.
But it's about how one of the main sections was about how Jesus Christ came is the embodied hope, and he was like physically here and suffered as well, and so we can have hope because Jesus overcame that. And then I started reading or listening to a book on my drive here, also for faith and suffering, called The End of the Christian Life.
The End?
Yep.
The End of the Christian
Life. It's about the end of Christian life.
Death.
Wow. So you are reading a lot.
Yes.
And
yes.
faith and suffering seems to be the thing you're taking most from, or you have to read most for?
No. Well, yes and no. Kind of. I mean, she has like 3 books, and I've read one. We're starting the next one, and there was like a smaller book, and then there's another book that we'll have to read.
Sure.
As backwards as it sounds like a fun class.
It is.
For sure.
It is a really
I feel like
class.
that one and what's the other one taught by Bailey?
I don't
Culture.
No. Oh, you're
the culture
talking about,
one. The other class that fills up really fast. Pop culture and faith and suffering are the 2 classes that fill up. Like, I think when I tried to get into the pop culture one, it was like a 200-person wait list.
Wow.
So for going to university, that's
What attracts people for pop
Christianity.
culture?
So it fulfills an elective,
Right.
Naturally.
Yep.
But I think the reason is because I think our generation, we talk about this all the time. Like, how do we as Christians approach our culture? How do we do that? What skills do I need to think about and need to do in order to approach
certain topics?
Right? Like Taylor Swift's new album.
Right,
you know, like we've talked extensively about Taylor Swift herself is not the problem.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like it's conversations like that I think attracts people.
Sure.
And also the professors are really good.
Well, yeah, Justin Bailey.
Naturally.
Justin Bailey, I could take any class with that guy.
I didn't even go to Dort, and I understand that Justin Bailey's classes are probably just going to fill up the fastest.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Is he teaching anymore?
He teaches that one.
That one?
And aesthetics, right? Or did he drop aesthetics? I don't remember. But he's the chapel. He does chapels now.
Right.
So.
There was a class at Gordon Conwell that I sat in on, called Sin and Evil. I think Sin and Evil.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one.
I'm sure.
to just sit in on.
And there's something about those things that like we're drawn to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we want to know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about, like, even within like the realms of like Christianity, like we're more drawn toward the negatives sometimes.
Oh yeah, and that's
just like in life, where we're more.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yep.
Like faith and suffering. You'd almost like much rather take a faith and suffering class rather than like faith and joy class. You know.
And I think faith and suffering is more applicable because nobody's asking why is so many good things happening? Like, no one says that, you know? Whenever you're confronted with someone who's, like, doesn't believe in Christ, they're like, why is suffering happening? That is, like, probably the most asked question by now.
Right.
It's like, why does God allow this? or some variant
Right.
there of that question.
Right.
So it's more relevant, I would
Yeah.
argue.
No doubt.
But-
For sure. And what's really interesting is that most Christians will ask that question, but then won't ask the question as well, why are so many good, like you said, why are so many good things happening to me?
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever asked that in my life,
Right.
unless it was sarcastically.
Right.
You know, like,
Right,
so we
right,
say
right.
suffering from success. You know what I mean? Like, we have all these sayings, but we're not actually questioning.
Right.
World number 1 of the podcast.
Where's the silos?
Yes. Where are the silos? I still might pull on that someday. I still might pull on that. So I'm going to not be a broken record this time, and I'm going to talk about 3 podcasts that I have been listening to that have been really good for me.
Way to switch it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Are you still reading Calvin, though?
I am still reading Calvin. I'm still reading all the other books I mentioned.
Sure.
So, speaking of Justin Bailey, he's the dean of chapel now, and I've been listening to all the Dort chapels, which, Sonny, I know you've been listening to,
Yes.
are fire. Very good.
Supreme.
The Holy Post is a new one I've added, and I've enjoyed their conversation. And Lucas, you listened to it
Did
as
you
well.
Did you listen to the most recent one?
I did.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I just like the perspective that they bring on things. That's very different from all the other people in my feed. Albert Mohler's kind of in that same vein. I love news from a Christian worldview. So those are 2 people that I'm listening to pretty well. What I know you've been listening to Holy Post longer.
Yeah.
Phil Vischer is the creator of VeggieTales, so that's also a draw for anybody who just needs an in as to why listen. But
Yes.
what do you enjoy about Holy Post?
I think that Holy Post is fun because there's 3 different people who think differently usually. Like there's Sky Jatani is on there, and he read some really good books. Phil Vischer is also on there, and then there's this gal named Caitlin, who's pursuing her doctorate in political.
And you can tell in the way she
Christianity,
talks. Yes.
or something like that. Yeah, it's wild. It's really they bring out really good thoughts and thinking, and I think that at least Sky definitely thinks about things, and Caitlin. No. No shade to Phil or anything like that, but they view things in a very holistic way, which I really appreciate. I don't think that they're tied to any specific worldview other than the biblical one. So
and that's why they can go out there and say what they say,
right?
Is because that's what they're basing it on.
Right. So, and that's just so important.
There's no political ties per se to it. It's just this is what the Bible says,
right?
And so that's really healthy way to look at things.
Yeah, it's something that I think I try and model.
Yeah, for sure. And I know I try and model it too, but I get very tainted, because I follow the news very, very, very religiously, for lack of a better word. So it's that's also part of my podcast feed is listening to the daily news that's going on.
Right.
So it's hard for me to sometimes bring in that biblical perspective, and they help me oh wait, all right, let's stop.
Sure.
Refocus.
Sure.
And then let's think about what's going on.
Yep. Let's look at what the law of the Lord says.
And not to say I agree with everything they say, because actually you're not going to.
Right.
And the other one, of course, Haunted Cosmos. I know we've all listened to Haunted Cosmos. High Strangeness on the High Seas, or whatever their podcast title is. So if you're into aliens and ghosts and whatever, they talk about it. They talk about all the strange things. Yeah, I've just been... Naturally, I have at least 6, 7, 8 podcasts.
6, 7. No.
I didn't even mean to say that.
You couldn't even stop yourself. You did this, and you said 6, 7 face palm.
Straight into the face palm. But I at least have a half a dozen podcasts, if not more, that I keep up with daily.
Right.
So it's been a lot of, and there's more in the back burner that I listen to if I have time. So there's I have a whole system, and
Do you listen to podcasts more than music?
Oh yeah,
sure. Do you?
I wish there was some stat line of how much
music more than podcasts.
Sure. I wish there was a stat line for how much podcast hours I've listened to.
I'm sure Spotify Wrapped will.
Yeah.
Well, I know they would, but I don't. I use Apple.
You use Apple
because, and I started there, and so I don't want to go to a different platform to get a different podcast. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that stat line, Apple Podcasts. But yeah, because we all know they listen to this.
Yes, they do.
Their AI does. Anyway. Let's move on. We've been talking on Weekly What's Up for a while here. Let's move on to the ministry news. We had our middle school retreat earlier this month. On your podcast feed, you should have been able to find the chapels from Tanner Mann's. So if you're interested in listening to that, what?
Which were great.
Which were fantastic.
They were very good.
And I even missed one or two in there.
Yeah, I think we missed the outdoor chapel.
Yeah, which is okay.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It was really good. I did have a recording of it, but due to time and the crinkles and noises that were outside, it wasn't great. Yeah. So, I took that one out for that reason. But also, like, an hour and a half or whatever it was is a lot. So
there's a lot of meat in there.
Yep. So you can listen to that. It went really well. We had, what was it? It's been a while. A lot has happened since then. 30 kiddos?
Yes.
4 counselors.
4 counselors. Yep. So it was about around 32. Really attentive. They listened very well. Really fun group. Funny. Willing to just go with the flow. So I would mark it as a success. Really good time. Lucas, coming up, we got Camp Connection, which is the high school retreat. What has stood out to you from the past about having that retreat?
Well, this is the second time that we're doing it, so
sure. It's fairly new.
Yeah. Last year was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool to see the cross-denominational people that we had. We didn't have a single youth group that would doubled up in a denomination, right? We had an ARC church, Alliance Reformed Churches youth group. We had a Presbyterians youth group. We had a Global Methodist youth group, and we had an E-Free youth group. So it was really cool. And I think that's it's a really cool time to connect within your youth group, outside of your youth group, and as well as with the Lord. Hence Camp Connection.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes. So the thing behind the name.
It'll be good.
We also have the Art of Parenting retreat coming up November 14 through 16.
I'm so proud of you. You keep getting that right.
I'm looking at my show notes. That's why I'm getting it right. So, of course, you can stay overnight, or you can, if you live close enough to us here at Inspiration Hills, you can commute and drive over. So we got plenty of spots open for that. And Lucas, I wasn't planning on talking about this, so I'm going to jump this on you.
Sure.
We went to our fall fellowship for DCA Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and now it's Thursday. So it's happened over the past 3 days.
Yep.
We debriefed as a staff, kind of the things we took away. But what is something major you took away from that fall fellowship? Last year, of course, we hosted.
Yep.
So that was a different vibe from and that's what I'll talk about, is going and not having to host.
Yeah,
so what did you take away from that?
For sure. I thought it was, this being my 4th fall fellowship, it was really beautiful to connect with some people that I've made connections with before. So that was a lot of fun. The speaker was amazing. He delivered, Jordan. Jordan delivered a lot of really good and simple truths that pierce the heart more than they usually do. So that was really good and really convicting. But yeah, I just appreciate our staff. I think we have a great staff culture. And Kane said it on the way back, but we're just loud.
Yep. Yep. Well, we're loud when it's appropriate.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And sometimes when it's inappropriate, I'm loud. So it just happens.
Yes. Yeah. Not having to host, I loved hosting. Hear me. Loved it. But also being able to just genuinely sit there and be poured into instead of having to think, oh, what's the next activity we got to plan? What's the next, I don't know, whatever. And I could just sit at a table. I didn't feel as if I was intruding on anybody's conversation. Everyone's kind of there to learn from each other. So you're just kind of vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Their cabins were great. I slept great.
So beautiful. Ridiculously cool.
Yeah, and like you turn the corner and you're like, just like Inspiration Hills, there's just randomly trees everywhere, and you're like cabin in the middle of the woods, and I'm like, all right, I could get used to this. And those beds slept.
Yep.
Always good to catch up with other camps, Riverside.
Shout out Riverside.
For sure.
Not to play favorites, but...
No, but we definitely have a dead bit.
But shout out Timberlake, Maranatha.
Yep.
Who else did you connect with? East Iowa Bible
Camp, naturally.
With Goldfish Jason. Yep.
I've never talked to him about that. I will never say that to his
There's
face.
a camp director over in Eastern Iowa, Sonny, that was formerly in Go Fish.
Oh.
Do you know what Go Fish is?
Yeah.
And so, you know Emoji?
No, they came to Platt. And I got to go behind the scenes with with people, and I got to meet them, and it was really cool.
We know the location of Go Fish Jason, and we know the location of Go Fish Jamie. We have 2 out of the 3 people right now. It's like a bingo card. And we could, as Phineas and Ferb say, get the band back together.
We're getting the band back together.
So. I have their CDs at my house.
And that is what my dad would pop in the car when we'd go to church or we'd go anywhere. That's what we'd listen to, and we bopped out. It was a great time. So yeah, anyway, squirrel number 2 of the podcast. But I do have a article here that I wanted you to get your guys' thoughts on. It's from Christianity Today, and it's I think an opinion article. It's called "Children Are Born Believers." But I just want to read the tagline here and get your guys' knee-jerk reaction. Research shows that kids are naturally attuned for believing in God, and we adults could learn from that.
I don't know. I want more context.
Okay, research
Tell
from
me more.
This is, when I scroll down in the article, this is what it says. Research from scientist Justin Barrett shows that humans come into the world assuming that there's some kind of supernatural source behind everything. But while dinosaurs might get the credit every now and then, if you press your child, they're far more likely to credit divine sources.
Okay, but they're not saying that they're born sinless or that they're born believing fully in God, to be saved.
It's more of the understanding of a higher
there's a higher
being.
Power.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
And as we as adults tend to just dismiss that feeling or that truth and just look at the secular.
We're called to have childlike faith
in
a sense, but then to mature, but to still have childlike faith. But Lucas?
Well, God has placed eternity in the hearts of man. So that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense. I think that there's a lot less disillusionment as a child. It's not to say that that they're saved at that point, but do they believe there's a God? Probably. And as a kid, yeah, for sure. I think without, there's a certain naivety to children, but that's also just pretty beautiful too. But the rest of the world hasn't necessarily tainted, their own experience hasn't necessarily tainted. So you wanna know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, I guess, but I can see it absolutely for sure.
To me,
everybody's geared toward that. Everybody is built for worship. Everybody is an image bearer of God, and just looking at other people, you can see that. So it's just kind of a natural inkling for us, Now when you mature as a person, not necessarily as a believer, but when you mature as a person, right, you're going to be fighting back against that belief too.
And the end of the article talks kind of about that. It's talking about how most people assume that younger generations just kind of lose that sense of spirituality. But then it says, it mentions some research by some International Journal Institute, whatever. And it says they tend to just channel those longings into different avenues.
Sure.
So that goes along with what you're saying, right?
Sure.
We're all meant to worship something, whether we're worshiping our job or whether we're worshiping God. As Christians, we find ourselves doing that, right? We tend to not direct our worship towards God.
Right.
And so how much more is greater is that to someone who does not believe?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So to me, it just made sense, and I thought it was a very interesting point. So that's why I brought it to discussion.
I looked at
today.
Sonny, and I think we both had the same reaction of like, he insinuating that like all these babies are coming into the world saved and losing it.
Yeah.
No,
That's why
I am not insinuating. Hey, it wasn't me that had to stretch it out. It was Christianity Today guy, and he did in his article. So if you have time, I will link that for you guys in the description of this podcast, so you can go read it yourself
In the show notes.
It is a good. I liked it as an article. I thought it was a good read. So anyway, let's move on to the main topic. I'm going to preface our conversation about ropes today with an encouragement. If you've not listened to all the other podcast episodes, I would encourage you to, because we are going to be using terms that we have defined in other podcast episodes. So I would encourage you to go and listen to the whole rap sheet. I was going to say rapture. That's not correct. Rap sheet of past podcasts. So when we use terms like initiative or prayer or sequencing, you kind of know the context that we use those terms.
One might say this is a well-sequenced podcast.
Indeed, one might say that. Thank you, Sonya. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
I would say that was the idea. So that's just a preface for anybody who is just tuning in. That's sort of my encouragement. We will always be on the internet, so you can pause this episode right now, and you can go and download all other 8 podcasts and go and listen to, and then come back to me speaking right now. So, high ropes, the challenge course.
Huzzah.
What is it?
Where's the manual?
I did not bring it in here.
I have a goal. The goal of our challenge course is to draw out parallels and metaphors of life and faith through manufactured experiences as groups and even individuals. This is accomplished through the execution, debrief, and application of various team-building activities, initiatives, and elements. The Inspiration Hills Challenge course consists of 3 components: low ropes, team-building activities, the high ropes course, and the climbing tower, the zip line. That's what we got.
You wanted a definition of high ropes?
Yeah,
I mean, they're elements that are high in the air.
Nice. Yes.
With cables and then harnesses and belaying, and that's the technical
yeah,
things.
Yep.
Tool for experiential learning.
It's basically the initiatives that we do that we call low ropes last month when we talked about initiatives, and it's just put higher in the air. So there's a lot of training that goes into it. There's a lot of things you got to think about when you are facilitating, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's backtrack. Let's think all the way back, Lucas, Sonny. I know you've listened to this episode, to our first podcast where we talked about our mission statement.
To provide an environment for the individual to come to know and grow in Christ and be challenged for life in God's kingdom.
We got to flex that this weekend.
We did.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
She said it incredibly wrong on purpose, and it was horrendous.
Yep.
Thank you, Gabby. If we think back to our mission statement, and if we think about to what Sonny just said, how does ropes fulfill that?
In many ways, I'd say. I mean, providing the environment. I mean, you've got the high ropes course, the physical course itself, the element, and you've got the gear, and then you've got the facilitators who are providing the environment for the climbers to come to know and grow in Christ. I mean, through the challenge of through the experience of the high ropes course, and then through the debrief. You're able to connect those challenges to God and to your walk in faith and be challenged in it. And then that also leads into being challenged for life in God's kingdom, where you can, through the debrief, take a plan of action and go out and apply it to the rest of your life and apply it to the rest of God's kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
What Sonny is also saying is that it's everything about the mission statement, but taught through experiential education.
Tell us more about experiential education.
Talked about it last episode.
You did.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. I was
Just
sad.
kidding.
I was sad I wasn't
Just
here
kidding.
to talk about it.
Well, okay.
I mean, but
what do you have to add?
I don't really know if I have much else to add. You have an experience. You take that experience and you will see how you can grow from that experience, and then you make a plan of action and apply it to the next experience, and you just go through life that way in a sense. But then this is like specifically geared towards that. Like you can do this with anything in your life, but the challenge course, the high ropes course, is specifically meant for bringing you an experience and then taking that experience and applying it to your next experience.
Yep. There, you can almost define any of our like team builders and things like that. They can almost be living parables. You know, like within the metaphors that you can draw, like the leap of faith. That's a parable right there for sure. So I think that it provides the environment through all these manufactured stressors, and going through these challenges and experiences, and walking with somebody else through applying that to life, not just it being a fun experience.
When I think back to, I promise this relates, bear with me. I think back to my driver's ed course. We were driving to Okoboji, and I remember my instructor saying, all right, I want you to drive on the side of the road. When you drop off and you're driving on that gravel, half on the gravel on the side of the road, half on the road, and I want you to just drive on that for about 10 seconds before you pull yourself back up. Now, this was a sizable divot that was in the road. And so I did it. I drove there for about 7 seconds, and then I pulled back on. And I felt what it was like to get yourself rebalanced after pulling yourself back on the road. And he said the reason I had you do that was so that when you accidentally, inevitably, drive off the side of the road, you don't just go yanking your steering wheel and overcorrect and either jump to the other lane and crash into somebody or solo roll. Yeah. Because that's actually probably one of the most common ways people get in an accident, at least when I was in driver's ed X amount of years ago, was people not paying attention, going off the side of the road, and then jerking their wheel. And so I got that experience of what it felt like to drive on the side of the road, got comfortable, quotation marks, with it, and I was able to learn from that. And today I still, whenever I drive off the side of the road, I drive there for 2 to 3 seconds, get my bearings, and then I'm able to pull myself back up. And that's stuck with me. And in the same way, we're doing that with ropes, right? We're you said a manufactured stressor, right? Somebody is scared of heights. They're going up there and they're learning, wow, that's how I deal with stress. Or, whoa, that's how I reacted. I reacted very poorly to the facilitator when he was trying to help me. You know what I mean? Like, you learn a lot either about yourself, about your group, and then that experience you're able to bring that into your everyday life, and you're able to use that. Exactly like I was able to use the driving on the side of the road to not get into accidents. That's kind of how I think about it as the experiential learning that we talked about last time.
That's an interesting thought. Just like observing how people respond to their stressors. That's interesting. I think when I think about the ropes course, I think a lot about the trust. That goes into it. And that's a lot of times that's where I pull out the debrief questions is when it comes to trust. But that's an interesting thing. I think that's something that I've never thought about before. As far as how did you respond to that stress? Right? Did you reach out for help, or did you try and figure it out yourself? Did you overcorrect when you went to step on to the leap of faith pole and therefore fall off?
Yep. And those are the conversations I have with campers afterwards, not as a whole group, but if they're I just really wanted to do it, and I just couldn't. And then I'm like, all right, let's talk about that, and then you go over so you were stressed, and then you go over all those things. So those are the individual conversations you have to debrief with somebody who is on the ropes course. And that goes back to, I don't remember what episode it was, but building relationships, right?
Might have been episode 2.
That might have been 2 or 3, I don't remember. But the importance of having the trust, if you're the facilitator, having them trust you to be able to belay you, to bring them up in the air,
Right.
or even the trust to be open and honest in that debrief, right? Like that importance of having that trust, so they're honest with not only you but their whole group, so they're able to learn. So anything else to add to the relationship side of things?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like with relationships, you know, a camper that I have a relationship with is going to receive coaching a lot better from me when it comes to being up top on the course, more than somebody who's never been or who they've never talked to in their life. Right. That's why when we're training, like we emphasize, you know, how you carry yourself and how you interact with the guests does matter. Right. It's going to affect their experience. It's going to affect their capabilities of going through the course, essentially. Right. If you're confident and you feel good and you're chatting with them, you're acknowledging their fear and their anxiety and almost validating that, you know, like, yeah, they get it. They trust you more.
That kind of gets in. I was thinking of different, like, I had like a whole 6 or 7, 8. I need to stop saying that. I had a whole, like,
Don't do it, Sonny.
8-episode plan of, like, all right, this is the 8-episode plan of the podcast. And I was trying to think of more. And leadership and the importance of leadership was one I thought of. And that's what that gets into, right? Like, if you as the leader are confident in your equipment, in your facilitators, and you're showing that, your participants are way more likely to be at ease.
Yep.
And that's why confidence is a heck of a drug, right? Like, I don't say that lightly. Like, it has influence on you and how you react and how your participants react as well.
Right, for sure. For sure.
Because if you don't have confidence in the equipment or in your ability, the climber's not going to want to go up.
No. Sonny, anything else on relationships?
It's really important, I think. I mean, I was here sending people down the zip line for, I don't remember what it was, but there was a whole bunch of girls that were like feeding off each other. Oh, I don't want to go. Oh, I want to go. Like, up on the zip line. And so, like, having my confidence in, like, yes, this will carry you, you will not fall, and all those things, like the security. And
was that Camp Connection last year?
No, this was recent. This was for crew.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The crew.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, but it was like, okay, and then they finally all went. Like, I was afraid that maybe one wouldn't go, but she ended up going down.
Right. Well, and it's crazy, like, to think about, like, the group things that happens to, you know, like, you get one person to go, there's going to be more who want to go, or they're all not going to go, which is really interesting. And how do you navigate that? How do we apply that to faith?
Another podcast thing we talked about with DJ was prayer. We talked about prayer, and that's something we honed in on. So, Sonny, how do you go about praying with a camper who's maybe nervous about ropes? Like, what do you say to them? What do you pray about with them? Like, how does that go? How does that go?
That's an interesting question, because I remember 2 years ago, my first year of ropes training, Gus, our trainer, was like, if you pray for them to, like, overcome their fear and things like that, then if they don't, then it feels like a failure.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you're praying for them to have, like, a great day at camp, praying for them just to have a great experience, and things like that. Not specifically, oh God, I hope help them overcome this fear. Kind of.
Help them get to the top.
Yeah.
You know, like, praying with the goal in mind, I think can be harmful. Yeah. I think Gus specifically. I remember this very clearly. Gus specifically said, like, if you pray that they accomplish something or they get to the top of the vertical playpen, and they don't, they're going to feel like they're failing God.
Correct.
Or that God didn't answer their prayer in that moment in time.
Correct.
Yeah. So, that's a really interesting concept to think about.
But you do want to pray for, what are things that you do pray for?
Like,
then?
for the strength to climb, or the courage that they need, or, I mean, just for them to have a great time, to experience this.
Right. When I pray with campers before the course, it's usually something to the fact of, Lord, help them grow closer to you through this experience.
Because sometimes when we pray, like they take that as an expectation.
Right.
You know what I mean? They either expect, now that I've prayed, I'm going
It's gonna
to
happen.
successfully do this,
Yeah.
or the expectation that God's going to answer that prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always the case. So, like, yes, prayer is appropriate on the course,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, that was kind of a leading question, Sonny, and you answered that exactly how I thought you would. So, yes, prayer does have its role on the course. What growth have we seen, I guess? What stories do we have about the ropes course and how it's affected a group, affected a camper, affected us? What stories we got?
I mean, if you want to hear one example, you can go back to the summer camp debrief. And I gave an example in that one about a summer staffer who grew from the experience or was able to apply the experience to her time on summer staff. So go listen if you haven't.
And hopefully you have, because I told you to. It was a joke, guys. It was a joke. So only Sonny thought it was funny. That's fine.
I think here's the hard part for me. I don't see the debriefs,
Sure.
right? I only see the moments, right? And like I only see the fears overcome, right? So like when somebody's on the leap of faith and like they're struggling and then they like get up top and they do it, that's amazing. Or like Sonny and I had it on the zip line Camp Connection last year. I remember that very specifically with one gal who just like didn't know that if she wanted to go down, and like she was standing on the platform outside of the gate, still hooked up to Sonny, just like quaking in her boots, but like being able to talk with her and breathe with her and help her to work through that stressful situation. I think that's huge. I love that's why we do it. And we had that with Sioux Falls Lutheran a couple weeks ago. No, a couple months ago.
A couple months ago, but yeah.
There's a gal who was struggling on the zip line too, and like I literally like walked through the movements with her, like I crouched down with her, and like I said the things with her, and she zipped off without. It took a good like 10 minutes just to talk with her to help her like de-stress, and then she'd do it. And like I remember I yelled down to Mad Dog, who was checking ours, like, "That's why we do it." So, but I don't get to like you don't get to see that, you know, like you do, you're like, yeah.
As a facilitator, I think something I've learned is like I'm not always I don't always have the right. Here, bear with me. I don't always have the right tools to make someone succeed.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can be facilitating, let's go with the leap of faith, the best that I can. I can be communicating with them the best I can. But that doesn't always mean they're going to succeed.
Right.
And succeed doesn't always mean getting to the top,
right,
finishing it, completing it.
Right.
It could be just reaching their goal.
Right.
But there is going to be times where even me as the facilitator doesn't have all the tools to be able to make them succeed. And that's when someone else comes in, like the counselor.
Yeah.
Or you, or Sonny, that has a better connection with them to make that, to help them succeed, right? And it's like, the great thing is it doesn't all lean on me, right? Like, that camper's success is not completely dependent on my ability.
Right. And that's a humbling thing in and of itself.
Yes.
For sure.
I would say that is a big takeaway for me personally. Because like we talked about, sure, it changes the experience of like the people that go through it. I think we've seen that. We have proof of that. But it also changes us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's an interesting thought to think about. Like, I think about like even like us three and Mad Dog as like resident lead facilitators, right? And like what that looks like, you're observing the whole time. You're most likely not running anyone through the course at all. But if you weren't there, you know, like would there be a ropes course group happening? You know, like would the facilitators be cared for? You know, would people be secure? You know, though you're just sitting back with a helmet on and maybe a harness on, you're just most of the time you don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's still quite an important role.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's something to be said about that.
Anything you've learned, Sunny?
It's just given me confidence and grown my confidence, because if you, like we talked earlier, if you don't have confidence, people aren't going to climb. And I feel like from my first time lead facilitating to the last time lead facilitating, I can see a difference in how I carry myself and how I speak and all those things. So I think it's just been a lot of growth within all that, and like how I, like from my first summer to my second summer, and how I'm interacting with the other facilitators. Just because I've had more knowledge, it's just like a different interaction in a sense.
Another thing I think I've learned is the importance of maybe we've talked about this, maybe we haven't, I don't remember, teaching the positive.
Yeah.
Just the importance and the power that has. Because like if you give someone a laundry list of things they can't do, that's probably going to hurt more than it's going to help, right? But if you say, all right, you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this. If you explain it right, you're inferring that this is what you should do, and everything else is what you should not do. You're not telling them that per se, but through effective communication, you're setting that expectation up without having the weight of the word expectation in their face. You know what I mean? Because that's a big word,
right?
Like,
right.
Maybe that's a whole podcast topic itself.
And it's, you know, sometimes that just doesn't work.
Exactly.
It's very interesting. Did you hear about the group that we had? I'm not going to say the name, but you weren't here. Oh yes, yeah. When that person went upside down on the zip line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I explained everything in the positive, just like real well,
and it didn't work.
And it didn't work. Yeah, she just she stepped back, and she literally jumped and went upside down.
And again, that goes back to it's not all on you, right?
Right.
You can do everything right, and something still goes like awry.
Yeah, there's still a risk there, and that is why we wear chest harnesses on the zip line.
Indeed. So, I mean, we've seen growth in other people. I think we've seen a lot of growth in ourselves.
Yeah,
Sonny,
sure.
I'd echo your confidence thing. Like, being put in charge of something like ropes, where you, I'll say it, have someone's life in your hands, basically.
Yep.
That's not something you should take lightly, and I don't think anybody does here. But you have to have confidence to enter in that situation. You have to. Otherwise, things could go right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for sure. So, Lucas, last podcast you asked a question, and this is how I want to go out, unless you guys have anything else to add.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, great. So, which do you like more? Ropes or initiatives?
Highs or lows?
Yes.
You're asking.
Yep. I mean,
Because
ropes are initiatives. Yes, ropes are initiatives. Sorry, which do you like more, high ropes or low ropes?
I know Jonah's answer.
What do you think my answer is?
Well, no, you say that because
You're
you
probably
told me
right.
that.
You're probably right. Whatever
Low
you say.
ropes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think back. I'll call me out. I'll give my answer. Sonny, 2024. We had this teacher group come by. I don't remember which teacher group it was. Sioux Falls Christian, maybe Sioux Falls Lutheran. I don't remember.
Wasn't a Christian school.
When we debriefed in the in
because
Eagle Crest.
You did Whale Watch. I did Blind Polygon. And
Were we in elementary?
You debriefed in the sitting area Valley View, and I debriefed outside underneath the picnic tables.
You're right.
And the canteen.
You're so right.
And I took a while to get back, so you did that thumb thing that you're going to explain right now.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't actually going to explain that, but like thermometers, like what did you enjoy? How confident do you feel? Or thumbs down, I'm not confident. I don't feel good about it. But I think back to that group, and I think back just to I could tell, like there's sometimes you're like, did our group really get something out of that? And that was a group where I was like, all right, they got something out of that, and they were overjoyed with the amount of thinking that they had to do and the amount of the heart that me and Sonny had put into their whole debrief and the whole like afternoon that they had.
Right.
And so to me, low ropes, I like more, I'm not going to say it's less prep, but there's a lot less prep with it, but there's still, I would say, a ton of impact with, if you're intentional with it.
Yeah.
And you don't always see that impact, but that was an obvious group where I was like, yeah, they got a lot out of that.
Right.
So, not that I don't, the more I do high ropes, the more I enjoy it. So it's
it's difficult because when you do like a low ropes thing, you're leading that whole thing. You're leading the build up to the initiative. You're leading the debrief. You're leading all of it, and so you get to be there for the whole thing. When you're facilitating high ropes for like summer camp, or when I'm lead facilitating high ropes for summer camp, I am in charge of all of it, but I don't get to be a part of the debrief. That's on the counselors. Sure. And so I want to be a part of the debrief as well, but I really, really enjoy high ropes. But I like the fact that on initiatives you get to be there through the whole process.
Yep, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I like lows more. I especially enjoy building teams, and sometimes that comes in the form of church like staff and like church boards and things like that, which I really love, and I also like doing it with teachers. So I think just like as a whole, I think that I find my gift set I'll use a lot more when I'm doing that. But like I love high ropes. I think highs are so fun, like, especially when you get to belay. Like I really enjoyed sending people down the zip line recently. That's been a lot of fun. So it's just more physical too, which I appreciate.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that being able to see the process through lows is what makes lows so attractive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I would say I also really like high ropes because of like the detail and the amount of attention that you have to pay to everything. Pay attention to and everything. There's a lot, and I like to see all of that.
And the problem,
yeah, you do.
and the problem solving that has to go into some of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just recently, I feel like I've done this long enough that I'm able to like problem solve certain situations that pop up. Like if something breaks, or if something goes awry, we're able to problem solve to do it. Like me and Lucas, or me and you, Sonny, or all of us. It's just recently I feel like I've gained that confidence to do that. So if you have any more questions about high ropes here at Inspiration Hills, you can shoot us email at jonah@inspirationhills.org or lucas@inspirationhills.org. That brings us into podcast panel. You can use those emails addresses to get your question answered on the podcast. We didn't have anybody this week, so my question for us to ponder today: who
are you? His workmanship.
Listen to the last podcast episode to know why we keep saying "who are you." Who is on your Mount Rushmore of faith leaders in your life?
Oh.
So, like, people who have
my
discipled you,
gosh.
people who have, who are, you don't have to do 4, maybe give me 2 to 3.
No, let's do the Mount Rushmore.
Okay, 4.
That's a good idea. I think that's good.
All right, we got to do 4 then.
I would have to say James. James is on there for me.
Our assistant
director, James. I think he's just, like, somebody said it the other day. I was like, he exudes humility, which I think is massive. But he's also just wise, and he sees a lot of things from a different angle. And like through our road trips that we had last year, our 2 12-hour road trips within the span of a month, him and I got really close, and now we get to do church visits together and things like that. And you know, he's an easy guy to talk to. He gives some really good advice. It's another one of those things that where we talked about, like, they're like simple. They're not simple things, but like they're not revolutionary things that he shares. Then of course my dad, I would say, taught me everything I know that when it comes to that, as it comes to theology, Bible, church, things like that. I think that he's definitely on there. Van Rathbun is another one of my great mentors. He came into my life kind of recently, and just being able to talk through things, and he's experienced a lot himself. And like he comes from a very unique perspective as well. Just that's kind of on like living out the faith side of things and interacting with people of different views and things like that. And then Josh Lucas, I think is he's more of a peer. He's a peer mentor, I would say, than a not saying that he's not experienced, because he is, but like I would call him more of a peer, where like we get to do this alongside one another, which I think is really huge for me. So that's what I would say. Great question. That really made me think.
Yeah. You got yours, or do you want me to go?
Go for it.
Okay. So my first one, my father, naturally.
Rick.
How would you spell Rick?
R-I-C.
Okay. That's what he signs most thing as, but it's actually R-I-C-K.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not
But
Claire.
he laid the foundation, right? Like him and my mom, of course, but laid the foundation of that faith. That'd be my first answer. My second answer, Lucas, you're gonna be on my Mount Rushmore. Going from when you were assistant director, a program director, to being my boss, to now just being a coworker, I guess, in the future.
Spoiler.
Just yeah, yeah. We didn't talk about that in the news section. But just like the consistency in your theologically based thinking has gotten me to think more about theology and things biblically, which I think is a great, unbeknownst to you maybe, and probably this is a realization I'm just coming to, like help me, because like I would listen to the news so consistently, right? But like with your direction of like, how does that work theologically? You know what I mean? Like your theological thinking has helped me switch my worldview. So that kind of goes with the podcast thing that I was like talking about in the beginning of the podcast. So that's why Lucas would be on there for me. And then I had a coach in high school. His name was Carl Kamink. One of the most humble, kind-hearted men that I know. Joy-filled person, just a great coach and a great mentor. I looked up to him a lot in high school. And I'm stuck here. I think simply out of this, he was more involved in my life. I got to say, one of my professors, Mark Volkers, really helped shape the way I think about film, culture, and how that relates to our faith. So he'd probably get that one. But honorable mention is Justin Bailey. I feel like I have a theology crush on him, I guess. But I just like the way he thinks because it challenges the way I think. So those would be my answers, I would say.
Okay, so my first one is also my dad.
And that's a great thing that we all said our dad. Like that is a huge blessing.
Huge blessing.
I just it's not a basic cop-out answer. That's a huge blessing. Yeah.
He's just what he's modeled has been really impacting on my life. And I had a conversation with him over Defender Days this weekend, and he was talking. He's a part of a prison ministry, and
Cornerstone?
Yes.
The CRC one?
Probably.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, good for Anthony.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so we were just talking about that, and he was just talking about he's on this thing of like asking questions. He read this book about like conversations and like how people want to be asked questions and like all of that, which is really good. But he asked me the question, what do you wish people would ask you more? And after I answered, I asked him that, and he said he wished people asked him more about why he does prison ministry. And so then I asked him, obviously. And so it was just like, and he was saying like it brings him, like it's where he sees God working the most, and even though it's challenging, it's just like he gets to see God moving. And I just thought that was just really cool. And it's like, That's my dad.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You're my dad.
And then I would say my grandma, in a sense, of like just seeing or having conversations with her about how she just lived so faithfully, and like wherever her husband was called, she just went, and just how.
Was he a pastor?
No, he was a counselor. He went off to war, got shot in the head, eyes blind, and then he was like a masseuse, and then one of his patients was like, this is not where you should be, and then he went into like biblical counseling or whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
And he had like major impacts on people, and I wish I could get to know him more, but no longer here. And then so like how she was just like, they weren't married when he got blind,
right? And
he proposed in the hospital before like one of his surgeries or something, and had like the jeweler come and everything.
Wow.
And the ring. Yeah.
Nice.
It was really cool. And just like how my grandma stayed committed, and then like when he was called other places, like she was there to go. And then for my last two, I'm not gonna do people, I'm gonna do places. So I'm gonna do Inspiration Hills and Dort, because I feel like there's so many people at Inspiration Hills, including the people in this room, who have impacted my life and impacted like how I think about God and grown my faith and stretched me and challenged me. And so Inspiration Hills, basically everybody here has had an impact, which has been this place, has had a huge impact on my life. And then also Dort, I would say, especially like the theology classes that I'm taking, but also just like the education professors, and thinking about how do you teach Christianly, and all those things have just had a major impact on my life. So I wouldn't say like one specific person from those places, but the whole, as a whole.
Yeah, that's an interesting spin-off question. You could ask like, what is the Mount Rushmore of places that you have impacted or encountered God most? Like there's different, that's a good spin-off question you could have as well. Yeah. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Know and Grow podcast.
Episode 9.
Episode 9, actually, this time.
How long is your recording right now?
1 hour and 12 minutes. Nice. It will probably end up being about an hour 6, hour 10. So.
What time is it?
Good try. I got
3:44.
I know, I got 1 minute. So thank you guys for listening to this episode, and we will catch you guys next time for episode 10. Woot woot. Episode 10 of the podcast. So we'll see you guys later. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Know and Grow podcast. Be sure to leave a rating and review on the Podcatcher app. Word of mouth is the most effective way to share about the podcast, so be sure to recommend it to a friend. Our podcast is available on all podcasting platforms, including YouTube. If you have any direct feedback for us here, or if you have any questions you would like us to answer on the podcast, you can email Jonah at inspirationhills.org or Lucas at inspirationhills.org. Remember, the more you know, the more you grow. And come on down to Inspiration Hills. We'll show you the ropes. Thanks for listening.